Hi everyone, this is Stine.
Hi Stine, Mia's here.
Great, Mia, I hear you. So, you know what, I think we should get started right away. As I can see, we have a lot of parents on this call already, and we don't want to waste anybody's time. So, welcome everyone.
Yeah, welcome everyone. My name is Mia Beck, and I'm here online with Stine Falkenberg-Smith, and we've both worked with children, teenagers, and their parents on a daily basis for several years now. And every day we are helping parents and children overcome challenges like bullying, and that is exactly what we are going to cover today. And let's just be straight up with you here, because we are not here to sell anything. Today is about us sharing with you so that you can take action yourself. Today we are going to talk about how you, as a parent of a child getting bullied in any way, it can be verbally, physically, emotionally, and no matter where it's happening, how you can best support your child through this time. And also, we are going to share with you our top 3 strategies that we use every single day with our young coaching clients that have proven to be 100% successful. So you and your child can overcome the bullying once and for all. It doesn't matter if your child is a boy or a girl, a teenager or a young child, or how he or she is getting bullied. And it doesn't matter if the bullying is happening in school, after school, or even online. If you stick with us for the next 30, 40 minutes or so, we are going to give you the tools you need to stop it once and for all.
In the next 30 or 40 minutes or so, we are going to show you how to overcome bullying once and for all without ever confronting the bully directly. And not only are we sharing our top 3 strategies with you, but you will also learn what your options are as a parent and what you can do today, the second you get off this webinar, to start turning things around. Finally, we'll share with you the 2 most dangerous advices that are commonly given by well-meaning parents. And hold on, because as we said, this is not one of those sales webinars. In fact, you can't buy anything on this webinar. Instead, you can get something very valuable if you stick with us till the end of this presentation, because we are doing something completely wild here, and it's something that we've never done before. We are giving you a link so you can reach us for a free consultation. Yes, I said free consultation, and discuss your child's specific situation and come up with a tailored plan. Mia and I are very, very passionate about this, and we want to help you. So we've set aside some time over the next days to get you started. So please use the chat to tell us about your situation, because we would like to get to know you better. And we're going to stick around after our presentation today for about 10-15 minutes to answer any personal questions you might have. So stick with us to the end.
Yes, that's right, Stine. But okay, before we get into how to stop the bullying, let's get a little clarity on your situation. Does this sound like you? If so, please type yes in the box if any of this sounds like your situation. Your child is being bullied. It can be by another child, a teacher, a parent, a sibling, or even a whole group of people. The bullying is either physical with bruises and injuries, or verbally with name-calling, false rumors, insults, and ridicule. Or your child is not included in the group of kids playing or hanging out, or the bullying might be happening online, on social medias, or maybe in chat forums where your child is getting picked on. You have tried to help your child by taking on the massive task of talking to the schools, the other parents, the bullies, and maybe even the police. And so far, nothing has helped. In fact, the bullying only seems to have gotten worse. Not only are you seeing your child hurting, but you are also starting to see clear symptoms of the bullying, such as anger towards you, towards siblings or others, isolations and loneliness, academic problems, because who can focus when you're scared and sad, right? Signs of self-harm. For girls, it's mostly cutting. For boys, it can be a broken fist because he hit the wall in anger and frustration. Or maybe your child is depressed, suffering from anxiety maybe, or even having suicidal thoughts. Could it be that your child is coping by using drugs or alcohol?
Yeah.
If that's you, then type in yes.
Yeah. And if you said yes to any of the things that Mia just was mentioning, let's ask you this question. What would your life look like if you could solve your current problems with bullying? Would you sleep better at night, knowing your child is happy and thriving? Would your family change? Would there be a better atmosphere in your house, more laughter and maybe more smiles? Because we all know that if one member of your family is suffering, you are all feeling it. Could it be that you would have more energy to focus on other things, like your other kids or your partner, or, see a good friend that you haven't seen in a while? Could it be that you would also have more time for yourself?
Yes, and on the other hand, if you don't find a solution, there would probably be more worries, fear, and emotional pain for you and for your child, of course. But it could also be that there would be more pressure on your relationship with your partner. Because what we see every day in our work is that having a child in pain is extremely stressful to your marriage, because you're focusing on the problems your child is having instead of your intimate relationship. And that's very natural. And would there maybe also be more sleepless nights? This relates to all parents, of course, but especially moms are absolute experts at worrying between 1 and 5 a.m., tossing and turning, going insane.
That's true. But in reality, none of that really matters compared to the worst case scenario, which we really don't like to mention, but we simply have to. Because suicide has become the second most common cause of death among teens in North America. And even if you live in Europe, you should be aware that suicide rates are rising, and bullying is very often the cause. And, so we don't want any of this for you. So today we're sharing strategies that you can use in your own house with your own child.
So let's get to the point. How do you protect your child from bullying? Let's be honest with you, because you really only have two options here. 1, you make the bully stop bullying. And that's what most people are trying to do. But if you go down that road, you better prepare yourself to be fighting the system, to be fighting the bullies, their parents, the school, the law. And if you don't run bankrupt emotionally and financially, like so many before you, you might be able to get some sort of changes made that will protect your child within school hours at least. But as I said, it's a long road, and we might as well warn you that it's a short-term solution, because once you're done fighting these bullies, your child is going to go on in life and meet new ones. Maybe it's going to be a sergeant in the army that calls him names and intimidates him. Maybe it's going to be a sadistic boss who ridicules him and treats him like trash. Or maybe a nasty mother-in-law who constantly criticizes. Or it could be a heartless girlfriend who verbally attacks him.
Mia and I have a completely different approach. What we do all day long is to empower people to deal with bullies. And you wouldn't believe how smoothly it goes once you know how to do it. Just yesterday, a dad told me, this is too good to be true. For 3 years, his son, who's now 9 years old, has been bullied at school every single day. And every morning they had to drag him out of bed, often crying. But now, 3 weeks later, like 3 weeks after we started working together, this boy is jumping out of bed, ready to go to school. He's no longer afraid.
Oh, I love it. It's like one less bully victim in the world. It's just so wonderful.
It's really, really wonderful. And what's even better is that all you parents, can create these results too. All you need are these 3 things. 1, you need influence, because without influence, you won't be able to change your child's mindset. Second, you need good communication skills, because if you don't know how to approach a delicate situation and talk about difficult subjects, then it won't work. Third, you need the right strategies, because without these, you might do more harm than good. And listen, because it's really important that you have all 3 things, because even with the best strategies in the world, you won't make a difference in your child's life. If there's a wall between you and your child and you can't get through with your knowledge, and even if you have a close relationship with your child and you're brilliant at knowing when and how to speak to someone who's depressed or angry, you won't have any success unless you have the right strategies to share. Does it make sense?
Well, it sure does. And the thing is, sometimes people say to us, but it's so much easier for you, you're a professional, it's all you do all day, and it's much harder for me as a parent because I get so emotional about it. So today we have chosen to share a very personal story with you to prove that we do understand exactly what it means to see your child suffering from bullying. Because the thing is that one of my own children was being heavily bullied a few years back, and I'm going to share with you the strategies I used to help her stop the bullying.
That's right, Mia. We talked about what case study to share today, and you agreed to share your own personal story as it serves to illustrate the power of a 30-minute conversation between a parent and a child.
That's right. And I cannot emphasize enough that I'm sharing this story from my family only to serve yours. And I'll be honest with you, my daughter was very sensitive and fragile, so if she could be turned from a victim to a winner, so can everyone else.
That's true. This strategy is very powerful, and we use it all the time in our work. But the beauty of it is that it's so simple that you can use it today in your own house with your own child. Imagine if you could completely change your daughter or son's mindset in less than 30 minutes and overcome the bullying once and for all. It's possible, and Mia will tell you how to.
Yes, I will. Well, so one of my daughters changed dramatically over a period of a few months when she started a new school. She went from happy and smiling to being sad and withdrawn. And she also became more fragile, and she would cry over small and innocent remarks that she would have normally just laughed at. We tried talking to her, and she told us about this group of guys at her school who were bullying her. And it all escalated one Sunday night when she broke down crying and telling us that she would run away if we made her go to school the next day. She had simply reached her limit and she couldn't take any more. My husband and I could see that her eyes were full of fright and desperation, and seeing her like that was terrifying. I knew that I had to create a major shift in her mindset from this place she was in that was, I'm going to run away if you make me go to school tomorrow, to a mindset of, okay, no problem, I will go to school tomorrow. But at this point, I don't think there would have been any threat or reward big enough to make that mindset change. So I came up with these strategies, and I'll share with you word for word what I said in that one conversation that took my daughter from feeling like a victim to feeling in control. Because I know you can use the same strategy to help your child. First of all, I told her that I could see how scared she was. And I invited her to tell me one more time exactly what happened at school. And she started telling about how the guys would push her back and forward between them when no one was looking, of course. and how they would throw her lunch on the floor and call her names. And as she was telling us, tears were running down her face. She told me she felt mad and angry and humiliated, and that she would react to the bullying by getting either, angry or just start to cry. And I said, I clearly see what's going on. It's really all like a game. The guys are just bored in school and you are providing the daily action. The game of the day has become to provoke you and get you to make a scene so you get into trouble. But you can win this game. Do you want to know how to? And she nodded, so I explained to her, okay, here's the deal. Whenever you lose your temper or you break down, they win. So what happens if you don't lose your temper and you don't break down? And she said, I win. And I said, that's right. And now that you know it's just a game, you have a huge advantage because you know what? The guys have no clue that you figure it out. They don't even realize that it's a game at all. Only you know, and that makes it easier for you to beat them. Now, I can remember how determined she looked when she said, I really want to beat them. Well, good, but they won't make it easy on you. They will go for a reaction, and if you don't lose your temper, they will push even harder to get that reaction. So can you handle that? And I have to be honest with you, because at that point she started tearing up again, and she said, I don't know if I can. It's too hard. I don't know. I get so angry. So I added one more strategy, and I said, okay, but try to imagine the boys, or the guys in this case, are being paid by Dad and me to train you. What? What do you mean? She said, confused. And I said, well, it's simply something we pretend, okay? Let's pretend that we pay them to teach you to control your temper. This is something that you can use for the rest of your life. And the guys work for us to train you. They are not mean or bad guys. They are simply working for us to train you. Do you get it? And this is when a huge transformation took place, because her frightened eyes were replaced by this smirking grin, and she said, yeah, I like that idea. So they are like my servants in a way. And my husband and I started laughing and said, yeah, you can say that. Your bullies are your servants, and they are just trying to do a good job to train you in a life lesson that is very valuable. We let her practice her responses with us, and we were laughing and giving high fives as she stayed cool and collected despite everything we threw at her. It was a conversation that lasted less than 30 minutes, but it completely changed everything. She came home more happy and proud than ever, telling us how poorly our guys were doing and how they were no match for her and how we were wasting our money on such amateur bullies. And in the beginning, I would stamp my foot and pretend to be upset, saying, no way did you beat my guys again. I'll have to train them better so they can challenge you. And after the little role play, I would give her a high five and I would praise her for winning the game. And honestly, it lasted only a few weeks until she hardly mentioned the guys anymore. She was more happy and the bullying just stopped. And she learned that some of the guys were actually nice and really, I think they just wanted to interact with her in their, own awkward way.
Yeah. And it's amazing how fast the situation can be turned around. And it's just such a joy to see how happy and thriving your daughter is now. And every time I've used this strategy with a client, it has had the same effect. It's a mind shift, really, from being this victim to being in control. And nothing beats it. For me, it's like that moment in a horror movie when the hero has been chased by the monster all through the film, and finally he decides that enough is enough, and he's not going to hide anymore. It's that magical moment where he faces his fears with this facial expression saying, hey, bring it on, you don't scare me anymore. I just love that moment. And that's exactly the mindset that we want to give our kids, right?
Yeah, it's great.
And here's a curious thing. Like, once your child takes on that attitude, her whole physiology changes, and the bullies see that too. The biggest reward for a bully is to see your child scared, humiliated, and impacted. Well, It's a powerful feeling to have so much control of another person, especially for someone who feels otherwise powerless, as the bully most often do. But when a child stops feeding the bully's need for attention and control, the bully will move on.
Yeah, and that's what happened to my daughter. But those boys were, in a way, a great gift because they taught her to control her anger and sadness, and it has transformed her life.
And that's great. And I just want to point out here that the reason this strategy works for all our clients with absolutely no exception is that this is not rocket science. It's a simple mindset shift, and that's all. The thing is that me and we could talk days and weeks about bullying, what to do and what not to do. But today, we want to not only share the powerful strategies that Mia used with her daughter, but also share with you the most common parental misunderstandings and mistakes related to bullying. Because all parents have good intentions with their children, but not everyone has good advice. One of the advices that we hear often is to turn the other cheek and just ignore the bully. And this may seem like a peaceful approach, but it's very dangerous. When your child is taking in all the humiliations and name-calling and is not standing up for himself, he becomes a walking time bomb of unresolved emotions. And when that bomb goes off, it always causes massive destruction. Think of high school massacres where a student with a history of being bullied for years suddenly just snaps. Or even just a cafeteria fight with a public emotional breakdown. One day, enough is enough. And either he snaps and attacks his bully, or worst case, he decides to check out by committing suicide, also known as the long-term solution to a temporary problem. Please be careful about this approach, because even though turning the other cheek may seem like a good solution, it does not work long-term.
No, and the other very common, well-meaning advice that parents give to a child being bullied is stand up for yourself. And sometimes it's okay to hit back if you're being bullied. And we agree that you should definitely stand up for yourself, but we strongly disagree that violence is the answer. Violence always creates more violence, and it serves the bully's agenda just fine, because he gets a reaction, which is exactly what he's looking for, and he also gets a reason for retaliation, meaning more bullying. We, too, have seen all the Hollywood movies showing that glorious moment of the victim beating the bully and putting him in his place, and we all agree he really had it coming, didn't he? And that's the beauty of movies. There's a hero and a villain, and we know who's who. But in real life, it could be hard to tell who started the whole thing, and suddenly your kid is expelled for physically attacking another student. No one's interested in the why. The behavior is just unacceptable. The strategy backfired. Your kid became the bully. Worst case, your child hit so hard, or the bully fall in such an unlucky way that there are medical implications and a possible lawsuit. Never, ever encourage violence. There is a better way.
Yeah. From our children are young, they are told to tell an adult if they get bullied. But your child may already have tried that, right? And how did that go? The reason why it doesn't work is that the bully gets even more upset when he gets into trouble. Involving the adults often makes things worse and not better, as the teachers, they can't supervise all the time. Another problem with this strategy is that a whole generation now feels that the adults should fix their problems. They're looking for solutions outside themselves. This generation is actually referred to as the porcelain generation because they are fragile as fine china. We need to empower our kids to be resourceful enough to fix their own problems or they will never feel independent and in control. So that's what we are focusing on today. What you should walk away with from this webinar is the knowledge to empower your kid. Because as we said earlier, if you do nothing, the bullying will likely just get worse. And those of you who had tried moving away from the bullying by changing school or house, you can tell that the bullying often starts all over again in the new place, right?
Yeah, and as we said in the beginning, a lot of worried parents are looking for big, complicated solutions to the problem. And it can become a bloody and draining fight against the school district, the other parents, and the bullies, of course. If that's you, then take a deep breath now. We just want to be sure that you hear us. Because the problem might be complicated, but the solution is not. Stine and I have two keywords in our work, and in our lives for that matter: simplicity and balance. And I hope you will agree that the strategy I just shared, the one that I used with my daughter, was very simple. It was strictly internal. When you apply that strategy, you do not change the bullies or their parents or the school system. It's a change of mindset, and it really changes everything. We want our children to stand up for themselves, but in a kind and graceful manner that unarms the bully. We want to teach our children to outsmart the bully by turning the bully's anger and hate against himself in the most cool jiu-jitsu way. And behind every practical strategy that we offer about how to respond to physical violence, to cyberbullying, to teacher bullying, to sibling bullying, or whatever challenge you have, there is an ancient rule of life. And it is without doubt the most kick-ass approach there is to bullying. And you know this rule already. You probably know it as the golden rule. And to practice it, you have to stay calm, stay kind, and be courageous. The trick is to be kind to everyone, even to your bully. The polarity between the bully's rudeness and your child's kindness will create a crisis of conscience within the bully, and once he or she feels embarrassed enough, the bullying will stop. When your kid refuses to take the invitation to a fight or show his humiliation or tears, he's in control. It's never about what others say about you. It's what power you allow them to have over you. It's really that simple. But please don't get us wrong, because simple does not mean easy.
Right. Because it's easy to be kind. When you're surrounded by kind and loving people, anyone can do that. Being kind to people you hate is really, really hard. And sometimes it takes a lifetime to master this. We use this great story of Buddha to illustrate how an emotional, mature, and balanced person will handle a bully. Now, Buddha, he was known far and wide for always being calm and in balance. And one day, a man decided to come to Buddha's home up in the mountains to test him out. The man, he swore at Buddha, he called him insulting names, and he ridiculed him. But Buddha, he just sat there calmly, smiling slightly, waiting for the man to stop. Eventually, the man realized that he was not upsetting Buddha, and he stopped. Buddha asked the man if he would answer a question, and the man, he nodded his head yes. The Buddha then asked him, if a man wishes to give another man a gift, and the gift is not accepted, to whom does the gift belong? The man, he shook his head, and he answered, why, to the man giving the gift, of course. Buddha smiled and responded, and if a man wishes to give another man an insult, and the insult is not accepted, to whom does the insult belong? Now, me and I, we love this story of Buddha because it really does tell you that you have a choice and you're in charge.
Yeah, that's true, because bullying happens everywhere. It's not a new phenomenon. It was around 2,500 years ago when Buddha was alive. So you can't shield your child from bullying. She is going to meet it at some point. If not in school, then later in life. And since you are here today, your child is probably facing bullying right now. So your child needs to learn the techniques on how to handle bullies. And in order for you to teach her, you need to learn the techniques yourself. This is something that Stine and I are extremely passionate about. And we want you to have the same awesome results with your kid that we have with all our clients. To give you hope, let's share one more quick story of how fast a situation can turn around. Stine, do you want to share the case study with Carmen?
Sure. Carmen's youngest girl, let's call her Christina. She was being bullied at school and online. She hated school, and she was filled with anger and frustration. Academically, she was strong, but socially, she felt totally left out. Christina was a smart girl, and she was resourceful in a lot of ways, but she didn't know how to make the bullying stop. And with an emotional pain that was telling her she was worthless and unloved, she felt stuck. And since she couldn't stop the bullying, she created her own solution to stop her painful inner dialogue: cutting. When she was cutting, she experienced a distraction from that awful emotional pain she was feeling. This was unconscious, but the physical pain she felt when cutting took all of her attention and focus away from her emotional pain. It was a horrible solution to the problem, but it was all she could think of. Now, Carmen, the mother, saw the scars on Christina's arms and decided that something must be done. And after being at the school counselor several times and seeing the family doctor, she was finally referred to us. And Carmen, she was relieved when we explained that cutting was not the same as being suicidal, because she was scared. And with our instructions, she managed to position herself as Christina's trusted advisor and get the insights she needed in order to help her daughter. And we worked with Carmen and helped her find the root causes for Christina's problem, which turned out to be a very poor self-esteem. And she took every action step we recommended to heal Christina's pain. She implemented small changes such as more sleep, new ways of communicating, and different approach to her role as a parent. And of course, our concrete strategies on what to do and say in order to best support her daughter.
Can I just jump in with an example here?
Sure.
It's just that I think it's important, in order to understand how this practically works and what kind of advice we give, that we are very specific. So I just want to give an example, because there was a time when Christina was devastated. There was this group of girls spreading nasty rumors about her at school. And the rumors insinuated that Christina had surgery done to enlarge her breast, which obviously wasn't true, because, Christina was barely 15 years old. She was 15, wasn't she, Stine?
Yeah, I think she was 15, yeah.
But the bullying continued, and Christina's look and style was being discussed on Facebook with demeaning jokes about her and comments that were very hurtful. And Carmen was now able to support Christina on how to respond, because remember how important it is to stand up for yourself. We don't want to allow anyone to walk all over us. But we don't want to respond with violence either, not even if it's only verbal violence. So we want to have that personal power presented with kindness. So here's what Christina wrote on Facebook. She wrote, "Hey guys, I can see you have a lot to say about me. Some of it is pretty nasty. I appreciate your concern for my sense of fashion and the size of my bra, but please know this. I don't need your approval to feel good about myself. I'm all natural, and if you want to continue your rant, be my guest. It's a free country, and I couldn't care less. Have a wonderful day." So we suggested putting a smiley after that, but Christina herself decided to put a heart, which I think was the absolute cherry on top of the ice cream. And sure enough, she only received a few comments which were all positive, saying, well said, and LOL, and that sort of thing. But the most important thing about this message was that it was seen by a lot of people who suddenly started seeing Christina as someone strong and interesting, and that helped to attract new friends.
Yeah, thank you, Mia. That's a great example of how Carmen was able to help Christina with the little daily challenges like how to respond to cyberbullying and how to respond to rumors that had been spread at school. And while doing that, Carmen managed to grow Christina's self-esteem to a point where she wasn't affected by the bullies anymore. They soon lost interest and the bullying stopped.
But Carmen is just one of many parents that we have supported in empowering their child, and often we work with the kids directly. But there's so many parents who are asking us how we bring about the mind-blowing changes in their children and how they can learn to do it themselves. So we want to provide you with the insights and the strategies because, after all, you have something that no therapist, no coach or psychologist can compete with. You have unconditional love, and you are available 24/7.
Yeah. So Mia and we have put down the 10,000 hours or more to become experts as family coaches specializing in bullying. And now we are using that to make your job as a parent easier and to make the life of your child easier, of course. Because one thing that makes Mia and I toss and turn at night is every headline of yet another young person who killed himself because of bullying. We have the knowledge to make a difference, but there's just enough hours in the day to help every single one of you with one-on-one coaching. And that is why we have decided to give you the knowledge you need to support your child to overcome bullying. And we know you can do this.
Oh, yes, you can do this. Just remember to send us an update when you do, because the joy we get from all the letters from happy parents and their happy kids, it's just priceless.
Yeah, and pictures too, because actually often parents rave about the physical changes from a daughter dressing only in black to suddenly putting on a soft and pink nail polish for the first time in years. And the smiles that go from these fake pretend smiles to these beautiful glowing smiles. So remember what you learned today. You learned that changing your child's mindset may seem impossible, but it's really not. Mia's story showed you how smoothly it can be done in less than 30 minutes using 2 simple strategies. You learned that the cure to bullying is the combination of influence, communication skills, and the right strategies. You also learned that neither turning your cheek or hitting back are good solutions to bullying. And finally, you learned that practicing the golden rule and always address bullying with kindness, calmness, and courage, like we illustrated with both the example of Buddha and Christina, is far more effective than any other strategy.
Yes. So we know that what brought you here today was bullying, but we don't know the specifics of your situation and the symptoms that you're seeing with your child. Maybe your kid is skipping school, being more aggressive than normal, or possibly lacking any sort of motivation. But no matter how the emotional pain is showing, bullying is a problem that should be taken seriously. So we urge you to not turn your back on the problem. Don't settle for crossing your fingers and hoping that the bullying will miraculously go away by itself, because it doesn't work that way. The key is to take action, to set your child free from that emotional pain of bullying before the symptoms, turns worse. So we hope you start applying what you learned today. But we also know that you're going to have questions, and that many of you would like our support and feedback on your situation, and we will be more than happy to connect with you.
If you would like our help and support, we've created 5 questions for you that we'd like you to answer an email to us, and we will call you back for a consultation on how to move on from there. You won't find anything like this. Just go to mindblowingtransformation.com/apply or press the link below. Our strategies have been tested for years, and our system of outsmarting the bullies has proven 100% successful with all our clients.
Where other approaches are aimed at how to stop the bullies by involving outside powers like peers, teachers, principals, or even the police force, our approach is so different. Actually, it's radically different. I want you to try to think of bullying like the rain. If I, as a parent, want to prevent my kid from getting sick from being exposed to the cold rain, I have two choices. One, I can demand that the school keeps my child dry at all times, meaning I can also keep him close to me and I can hold up an umbrella to shield him from the rain. Or I could even keep him inside all times so I'm absolutely sure he won't be exposed to the harmful rain. But as you can imagine, doing all of that would be extremely stressful and it would limit his social life. Now, the other thing I could do, and that's what we are all about, is to prepare my child for the rain. I can make sure my child understands that rain can fall on his skin, but it can so easily be brushed off. And I can make sure my child wears a raincoat as protection from the rain. And obviously, I can make sure that my child knows what to do if he gets soaked and wet. We want your child to feel resilient to the rain and stretch his tolerance for the discomfort of the rain. We want him to be able to stand in the rain and realize that even when it's pouring down, he can still have fun when he sticks out his tongue and jumps in the puddles, knowing that his raincoat and rain boots will protect him from the elements.
So if I use your metaphor, Mia, then we provide the rain boots and the raincoats to keep your child dry. I like that.
Yeah, but think about it, Stine. A tree can't grow without rain, can it? And everybody knows that, they know what fertilizer is made of. So I think nature is really teaching us to take whatever crap comes our way and use it in our favor to create growth and beauty. And I think we can learn from that and do the same with whatever our bullies are throwing at us. Because really, how will we ever know that we've grown as an individual, as a person, if no one ever challenged us to show it?
Well said, Mia. Well said. Now, this is very important because our offer is not for everyone. We strongly recommend that you do not write us if you are a chronic skeptic or a drill sergeant who enjoys the power trip of punishments and threats, or if you're a whiner who doesn't like challenges and who's not ready to take action and invest in your family.
That's right, but we would love to hear from you if you are a parent who is deeply concerned with good intentions, and if you want to connect with your child on a deeper level, and you want to empower your child to overcome bullying, and if you are ready to try a new approach. And it's not that it's really new because it's really ancient, but it's just new compared to many of the approaches that are being used currently. So if you meet those criteria, if you want that deeper connection to your child and you don't want your child to suffer anymore, then we want to offer you a free call with one of us to help you empower your child to face any bully and be happy.
Yeah. This is to help you get rid of your current problem with bullying and the related symptoms of anger, depression, suicidal thoughts, and failing school. And once you get rid of the problem, you can enjoy seeing your child happy and energetic again. You can sleep well at night knowing you now have the tools to face any future problems. You can enjoy a relationship with your child built on mutual love, trust, and respect because you were there to help him through the hardest times of bullying. We are looking so much forward to supporting you. So go ahead and sign up for the free call, because we have a lot of parents on this webinar right now, and the spots are limited, of course. And this call with one of us can be a powerful fuel to change your situation around. And we really want you to get your hands on it.
Now, before we end this webinar, we are just going to quickly answer some of the questions from the chat. And a lot of you were guessing where Stine and I are originally from. And I think one of you mentioned that you had heard us speak Danish at your son's school, and it is true. We speak many languages, but that's because we both grew up in Denmark, and we have a lot of clients there, and we love our clients in Denmark. So if you're listening, big hug to you. Because we are very fortunate that we have clients all over the world. But yes, we did enjoy speaking at a number of schools in Denmark last year. And if you want us to come and speak where you live, then just reach out to us and we'll be happy to check the calendar.
All right. So we had Susan was asking, my 15-year-old son hates school. Every morning we fight about going, and I have heard rumors that he is being bullied, but he won't tell me what's going on. What should I do? Well, thank you, Susan, so much. Thank you for that question. It's a perfect example, actually, of why you need 3 components to help your child. If you don't have good communication, there is no way you can get through to him. But the good news is that we have some pretty awesome techniques to break the silence, and if it's completely impossible to open him up, you might need an ally. But we'll be happy to explain further when we talk to you over the phone. So just please write us at mindblowingtransformation.com/apply, and we'll explain it further.
Shelley says, I like the seminar, but right now I doubt that my daughter will ever overcome her problems. She's 14 and has been bullied for many years. I know she's been smoking pot, and last week I found some pills in her room. I'm really worried, and I've lost trust in her because she has stolen from me and lied to me so many times. What should I do? Well, first of all, thank you for sharing, Shelley. We do understand your pain and frustration. This is a great example of how bad a situation can be. But when someone is doing drugs, it's really no different from cutting, overeating, or playing video games all day. It is a way to numb yourself so that you don't have to think about your situation. If she's been bullied for many years, as you say, then doing drugs is a common symptom to her emotional pain. It's a way for her to try to distract herself. It's an escape. But behind all that destructive behavior that you see right now, your little girl is still there, and she's in deep pain, trying to cope. But obviously she's lost. And the good news is that we have seen situations like these turn around very quickly once the right help is given. Personally, I had a client who was similar, who was also binging and doing drugs. And furthermore, she was sleeping around and mistreating herself in many ways to escape her reality. I hope your girl doesn't do that. But it wasn't what she wanted to do, but it worked to distract her temporarily. But once we started working together, she put all of that behind her within weeks. And she's never looked back. She's doing so well now. But the only thing you can know for sure, Shelley, is that if you do nothing, nothing will change. It will probably just get worse. So if what we said today resonates with you, then let's connect, okay? Because we are offering this as a free consultation, so you've got nothing to lose.
That's right. So John writes, my kids are 9 and 12, and I'm sick and tired of my oldest bullying the youngest. What should I do about it? What a great question, John. A bully is a bully, right? And when they live in our house, it's an even bigger challenge. Now, it's very common, actually, that a bully is a sibling or a parent, and there's usually some underlying family dynamics going on there. So you need to become a detective and start asking questions like, when did this start and what happened at the time, and try to get to the root cause of the problem. With sibling rivalry, one of the typical things, of course, is jealousy. And a way to get around that is to make sure that both of your kids feel equally loved, feel equally listened to and heard. It's a good idea to set aside some one-on-one time with each kid and get to know them better. What scares them? What worries them? If they had a magical wand, what would they change? Never play the blame game. Try to understand their world. There are some really effective ways of dealing with sibling bullying, and you're more than welcome to connect so we can talk more about it. Just go to mindblowingtransformation.com/apply and we will call you back. Okay, so Andrew has a question. He is saying, it sounds simple enough. I wonder if the solution can really be this easy. Well, Andrew, I'm happy you think it sounds simple because that was really our main goal today, to take something very complicated and make it simple. But just so we're clear, simple doesn't always mean easy. Using the golden rule actually takes practice, and that is why we encourage role-playing. The more you practice, the better you get, and it will take consistent practice to make positive changes.
And here's a good question for you, Stine. Lisa is asking, how many kids do you have?
I have 3 kids, Lisa. I have a girl and a boy and a girl. And Mia has 2 girls.
That's true.
Okay, I think this is it. We don't want to keep you for any longer, but if you want to connect with us, please just press the button on the screen or go to mindblowingtransformation.com/apply. We would love to learn more about you and stop the bullying of your child for good.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone, for showing up. We hope you got inspired.
We certainly do. Bye for now. Talk to you soon.